In the tradition of Malcolm X, peace be unto you. In this talk, I will discuss life-threatening challenges caused by climate change and population decline in our communities. You see this beautiful waterfall. The water is clear and clean. And that is because it has been filtered by natural processes through our oceans, rain clouds, mountain snowpacks, aquifers, and by many millions of tiny pebbles and rocks. We drink it, and we live. But now, increasingly, as is the case in Jackson, Mississippi, high lead levels have been found in tap water and in other cities such as Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, Newark, New York, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., and in California. One analysis found that between 2018 and 2020, 56% of the United States population drank from water systems with detectable levels of lead. Water is a simple necessity of life, but it is now causing mental illness, violent behavior, loss of IQ, and in part, it is responsible for a decline in our population. So now, if we drink water, it will damage us, and it may even kill us. Let's look at two graphs. We can see on this first graph that our population has been in decline exponentially for 20 years. My demographic projection is that it will eventually sink to about 2 million people by the year 2100 if the present negative growth rate remains constant. But conditions are changing, and they're changing for the worse. And so it is highly probable that our population will decline even faster. Let's look at the second graph. Graph 2 sheds some light on one reason why our population is diminishing. You can see on this graph that the two lines, the red one and the black one, intersect. And they intersect at a time in the future when average global temperature will have reached 3.8 degrees Celsius by the year 2040. 3.8 degrees Celsius is 3 times higher than it is today. And what that means is that we will have increased heat waves, forest fires, and many other problems that result from having a temperature that high. Most black people around the world will die under social conditions caused by 3.8 degrees Celsius, average global temperature. There won't be enough water for everyone, let alone food, unless there are monsoon rains such as the monsoon which has put 1/3 of the nation of Pakistan underwater and killed thousands of people. Too much water kills too. Too much water in the atmosphere kills. And the overheating of our oceans, which increases the amount of evaporation, in turn increases the amount of rain and monsoon storms, such as that one which has devastated Pakistan. And remember, Jackson, Mississippi's problem was flooding. And so the coastal states in the South will have similar monsoons over the next 20 years. When temperatures rise too high, It will also trigger crop failures. Thus, food shortages will result because of global climate change. The World Counts website states, as of this writing, that Earth will run out of food in 27 years and 249 days. Now, what they mean is that we will need 1.8 Earths to accommodate the numbers of people who are living on the planet. That citation comes from a Harvard sociologist by the name of Edward Wilson. It added that there are limits to the Earth's capacity to feed humanity, and we are fast approaching that limit. Now, as food shortages occur and increase, as part of the food crises, prices of food such as corn and rice are likely to increase rapidly by 180% and 130% respectively by 2030. Corn is used to feed animals. And if the cost of corn goes up, then the cost of meat will go up. And the levels of prices for meat may go beyond what many can afford. And we may then start to see protein deficiencies occurring in the populations, not only of countries in what is called the South, but in states in the United States. Another result will be inflation. Now at 8.5%, inflation will eat away at the purchasing power of our money while making recent minimum wage increases meaningless. Millions of middle and lower classes will then realize that they are trapped and unable to reverse a quality of life freefall. Inflation will cause a drop in the GDP, the gross domestic product, worldwide, because 66% of gross domestic product is caused by consumption of goods and services. In other words, as the consumption of goods and services decrease, the national economy plummets. And then job layoffs increase, causing more people to be homeless. And then finally, national and global conflicts increase. We should expect war within the next 10 years on a global scale. We are faced with existential challenges. And not for 125,000 years, or since the end of the last ice age, have we faced such threats to our existence as a species. It is serious. It is happening right now, and it will cause famine, killing billions of people worldwide. Millions of African Americans will die. Therefore, each challenge will necessitate different existential choices. The ecosystems of the world are being reshaped. Those very same ecosystems will no longer work to our advantage. Let's take a moment and look at some of the existential choices that will become increasingly necessary for us in the future. They are two in number. A, the necessity for a change in our lifestyles, as well as recognizing the implementation of new technologies that do not involve the burning of fossil fuels. B, the necessity for a change in habitat. That is, the necessity for migration. Many habitats we have relied upon for thousands of years will become uninhabitable all over the world. But one of those areas here in the United States is the Gulf coastal states, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. 5 of those states are some of the poorest states in the United States. If you live in any one of those states, coastal regions, you had better start thinking about where you will migrate, because it will become extremely difficult to continue life there as you live it now in 30 years. I was looking at some of the amazing photos taken by the James Webb Telescope. I'm sure you have too. The photos captured the images of galaxies, stars, and planets that are 13.5 billion years old. That's almost, according to modern astrophysicists, the time when the universe came into being. We are literally looking into the past when we see those galaxies, stars, and planets. And we're looking into the past, hoping that it helps us to understand, helps us to perceive our present situation. Our star is only about 4 billion years old. So probably the photos of the galaxies and planets captured by the James Webb Telescope no longer exists, because we are seeing the images of those galaxies, planets, stars as they were in the past. We are looking out into the past when we look at the night sky. Our planet still reflects light onto the face of that night sky. It may very well be that somewhere another planet can see the twinkle of our planet, because our sun is still alive. But there will come a moment when the sun and the planets we call our solar system cease to exist. For now, we have some moments to celebrate life. For it goes without saying, we face grave existential threats. I am Dr. Stephen Nur Ahmed. Peace be unto you.